James Khan is one of the UK's most successful and dynamic entrepreneurs. He's now taking this first-hand knowledge on the road to mentor 6 of the UK's most vibrant small to medium-sized enterprises. Will the young companies make the change or stick to their ways? The business class begins here. This week, QuickScreen enters the business class. Let's look at the stats. Founded by Royal College of Art graduate Michael Corn and ex-bond trader Dennis Anscombe, the London and Midlands-based business manufactures and sells portable retractable screens. QuickScreen has 2 challenges. Now it's up to James Khan and his industry experts to solve them.
Hello and welcome to the business class. Joining me tonight is Joe Haig, partner of FDS Corporate Finance Services, and Dick Powell, co-founder of Seymour Powell. Let's find out more about QuickScreen's co-founders and its business model.
The concept for the QuickScreen, it started off as my final year project at the Royal College of Art. I was studying innovation design engineering, and I was looking into the problems of space management in hospitals. What I found out when I did a lot of research in hospitals was that actually you don't need side rooms for isolating infected patients. Most of them can be treated in a ward as long as there is a see-through screen between them and the neighbouring patients. So I then went about designing a portable, retractable screen. The plain screen is around £1,600 and the printed ones are around £1,800. Our first challenge is one of market focus. Right now, we're doing really well selling into the UK healthcare market. But because the product is so useful for different applications, we're getting interest all the time from people that want to use the QuickScreen in their offices, in restaurants, in hotels, in exhibitions, and in schools. And it's hard for us to say no. Should we be diversifying into these other markets, or should we keep focused on the NHS?
That's an interesting challenge. I mean, I think to me, the NHS as a market, because you're dealing with this whole procurement process, I think my gut feeling is it's too narrow. I think any business that's dependent on one single market, to me, would be worrying.
I would be very worried about any body that is funded in any way by public funds to have as a sole dependent customer.
Especially with the government cuts, etc.
Exactly. I mean, I think they need to look far and wide. At the same time, though, I think you've got to be careful that you don't dilute the speciality nature of it and whether it needed therefore to go into different brandings.
When I was running through the numbers of this business, what I noticed was that they generated £100,000 on sales through online sales. And from what you saw on the web, is this something that you think has been effectively communicated to its customer?
Not really, no. I mean, you know, you would want that to be as sexy as hell, and it isn't. It's rather dull and boring, but that's what institutions like.
So far, we haven't taken any external funding into the business. This has had a huge number of positive impacts on us because we're very focused on the money we spend, we're extremely focused on generating sales, and we haven't had to refer to any third parties if we need to change strategy very quickly. We've also avoided investing lots of time looking for funders and managing those relationships. However, we're ambitious and we realise that to build a really big company, we really do need external capital at some stage. So we'd love to have some advice on when the right time to raise external funding is.
Joe, that's a great question for you, straight in the corporate finance arena.
I mean, I think the first thing they've got to establish is, do they want debt or do they want equity? Debt means that they retain ownership of the business. If they take equity, they will dilute their ownership, but the advantages are that you could have a smaller piece of a much bigger pie. It's got to be angel-type funding, really, for this to be of any interest.
Dick, if you were them, would you give up equity at this stage for raising capital?
I'd avoid both at all costs. The most important thing, I think, is that the business is scalable. And when you can start to do the business plan and see, as Joe says, a future where you are scaling, there are natural points where you need to fundraise.
What could QuickScreen raise in the market for something like this type of business at their current scale?
Okay, well, there's a specific organisation called Funding Circle, and they provide debt funding for businesses.
The founders of QuickScreen are here and have been listening to our discussions, but will they agree on what we've said and make the changes? Let's bring them in and find out. When you look at the product, I think it looks amazing, and you immediately think this is a much bigger business. and then you look at the numbers and the profit margin, you say, actually, it's quite boutiquey. So I think you've got to try and get that profitability of that business much stronger, because remember, if you guys can't make any money out of it, how does the investor make money out of it?
Interesting, when you were talking about, oh, they'll probably only draw 45,000 plus some expenses each out this year, that is all we probably will. But we'll also generate another 100,000 in excess, which we invest straight back into R&D. So we're not really running it for income right now.
The great thing about our business is that we've funded it on the sales. The money that we've generated from selling into that market, we're pumping back into the R&D and to develop the product so that we can then have something that is more automated, lower cost, and then we can diversify into the other markets as you were both saying.
I think an individual salesperson could carry a target of roughly £500,000 per market. If that individual was costing you, let's say, a 35,000 base, on target 50, 60,000, that gives you a very good return on investment.
We are considering that exact issue right now. Do we hire in to service this demand, or do we keep using the capital and putting it into the product, putting it into the manufacturing process? I think with our limited capital, that's a big decision that we're now working on.
I get that. Joe, what are your thoughts on that?
It doesn't have to be either or, does it? I mean, if you choose to refinance the business, there's no reason why you shouldn't do both.
I'd love to see this business scale. I think the opportunity to raise money is clearly available to them. What they need to do is grab the bull by the horns and turn this into what could be a phenomenon, to see this product across every single business sector that they've identified.
Having people testing your ideas and sort of pushing you, I think it makes things a lot clearer for us.
A lot of what they said really validated what we've done. If you can find clever ways of getting your message out there so more people know about the screens and the various applications for it, then we should do so.